for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Ozzy Kwame Nkrumah, the only son who was born on a Saturday like the father. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Once again, I want to thank you for honoring our invitation at a very short notice. I mean, after 8 p.m., you were able to make it. That reminds me of your dad. I think a year after the independence, he was invited to travel out of the country. 2 hours notice. And he was able to fly from Ghana to Kenya to meet some of his contemporaries to discuss the way forward for Africa. And it sent a signal to me that, yes, your dad is not dead.
He's not dead.
Your dad is sitting here with me.
Absolutely. He never dies. Yes.
How are you, sir?
I am well by God's grace. And I'm trusting God to do greater things in the near future and in the far future, because Ghana hasn't seen the best days yet. Ghana has seen dark days. Ghana has seen glorious days in the beginning, but the best is yet to come. I sincerely believe it. When Nkrumah's mission and vision is fulfilled, Ghana will be the superpower of Africa. That once again, we will punch above our weight once again. And I just
strongly believe that.
I strongly believe that. I strongly believe that. And I believe that Africa can never unite without the input, the serious input of Ghana. Ghana started and Ghana must finish. And until then, it's in suspense for now. So I just can't wait to see Africa united before I'm gone. Yeah.
Well, we all know you to be Ozzy Kwame Nkrumah. A lot of people don't know you well, your background and everything. Tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm really, by nature, I'm a very private person. I initially didn't want to come to the public domain.
Okay.
That is as a matter of preference, but as a matter of duty, I had to allow myself to lose the luxury of privacy, as I call it. I enjoy wandering around, walking in the streets without being noticed or recognized. And so to me, it's a sacrifice to be recognized. However, I believe I need to play my part. I believe I need to play a role, an active role, for the benefit of Ghana and for the benefit of fellow Ghanaians and for the unity of Africa. When I was born as a small child, I just kept dreaming about uniting Africa, and nobody instructed me.
When you were born as a child?
Well, since I can remember, maybe since I was 4 or 5. And people would call me Nkrumah in the street, and to coincide with that, I had dreams. You know, some people might think it's hallucinations about the need for Africa to unite. At the age of 20 or 21, I wanted to write a book about the importance of the unity of Africa, and I was told such a book was written already. Africa Must Unite. I wasn't aware of the book, so I didn't go ahead with that. But I may one day write something along those lines, or Africa Must Unite Part 2 or something, because I have a lot to say about the African unity, and that was my life. I mean, we're talking about 60 years of dreaming of the unity of Africa, and nobody instructed me, so that is inbuilt by some divine design, I guess you would say. I don't know how, but God knows how.
You are in politics now.
I am, yeah.
You're a member of the CPP, your father's party.
Yeah.
What position are you holding now?
Well, okay, let's qualify this. I've been in Pan-African politics since I was 21.
Okay.
But I've appeared on the Ghanaian scene in the last 20 years only. I was elected as first vice chairman, but currently I'm the acting chairman of CPP due to the lack of substantive chairperson. CPP failed to have, according to the party constitution, the chairman has to secure at least 50% of the votes plus one. And we didn't have any of the 4 candidates to secure that. So for the minute, until we have rerun or until we have fresh elections that will have such a substantive chairperson, I'm the acting chairperson. But I was elected as the first vice chairman.
Okay. You enjoy the luxury of privacy and you want to walk alone, trying to put things together in your own way, not actually getting to the cameras and all that.
Yeah.
And you're entering into an arena, I call it the toxic conference. That's Africa's politics, especially the one we have here in our country.
Yeah.
You, as a luxury person of privacy, how are you coping with your personal life, which is a private one, and that of this toxic environment?
It's not always comfortable. Sometimes it's unpleasant. I mean, I don't always want to travel business class or first class. I enjoy going economy unless I'm going with fellow delegates. So I have to follow them wherever they are. So these little things you don't feel when you're a private person, you just take it for granted.
Okay.
But when you're recognized, I mean, I was flying a few days ago and people on the plane were recognizing me and greeting me and so on. I don't always, I don't mind it really. I'm just trying to get used to it. Yes, it is fairly toxic, but can I ever get used to it? I don't think I can ever really be at home in a toxic environment, but I will endure it the best way I can for as long as it lasts. And maybe God will give me a long life to disappear and go back to my privacy again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you do apart from politics? Are you into farming? Are you into what? What do you do?
Okay, I've done so many things since I was 21.
Okay.
I started several companies. The first one was export-import. Then it was I got into real estate, and I bought a theater, for example, and I got into media in the UK. I had all kinds of pre-production, post-production facilities.
Okay.
So that got me exposed to clientele in Hollywood and in different parts of the world. So I'm well exposed. And then I became a partner with another gentleman of linguistic translation services company. In London is a big center for this kind of thing. So we used to have lots of contracts. So I don't know. And I've done consulting, management consulting. I've done the course because I have done so many studies. And I always study. I am an alcoholic student, really. People say I'm a scholar, and I say, no, I'm just an unrepentant, unrepentant student. I just keep studying. And not to get papers, it's just for the joy and for the knowledge.
Married with children?
Married, but my wife has run away, and yeah, and so I don't live with children right now. But maybe I'll marry
with your children?
Yeah, well, it's okay. It happens, you know. But
is this something you want to talk about?
It's not really relevant because I'm hoping for another wife and more children. So
what happened?
She just gone, disappeared.
Why?
She thought, okay, I can tell you why.
Yes, tell me what happened. Tell me what happened.
No, she thought I was in love with Ghana. I'm always spending most of my time in Ghana rather than in Europe. And I was married in Europe. So
a white?
Well, a mixed race.
Okay.
Yeah. So she basically gave me an ultimatum: if I don't repent to Ghana and coming to Ghana all the time, then that will have an impact. And I didn't realize the impact would be just to walk away. Well, one day she said, okay, that's it then, and I will apply for divorce. And I tried to talk her out of it. She wouldn't listen. So I said, okay, I will not contest it. Good luck, but give me access, and but I don't really wish to say much more than that. So she's disappeared.
Do you have access to the children?
Yeah, but she's gone, and it's
so you're officially divorced.
Yeah, well, yes, but I don't have the paper on me, but but the paper is somewhere. Yeah, but I believe the decree was issued, and we separated for enough years to.
Okay, so in such a volatile situation, especially here in Africa, when things are not all put in place like other places in America and Europe where you've lived the majority of your time.
Yeah.
How are you coping?
I cope the best way because I see myself as a soldier, really. I don't see that I should have...
Because you're an Nkrumahist. I mean, that blood is inside of you.
Yeah. So I don't see life as a luxury. I feel that luxury will be in the next life. When I join our ancestors, there will be a better life next time. But this is working. This is a battlefield and a training ground. So that's really in short, yeah.
All right. So beautiful ladies out there, you can send your application through Yatiti. Dr. Onzi Kwame Nkrumah is single. And he's still looking up to find a very beautiful, intelligent, respectful woman for a wife.
Hopefully Ghanaian next time, yeah.
Hopefully a Ghanaian.
Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully a Ghanaian.
Any specific features? Tall, short, fair, dark?
Well, Pan-Africanist who loves God. These are the two items, really. Someone who loves Africa and who loves God, that should be fine. Yeah.
Now, about your dad, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the founder of this country, a fact that nobody can take it away from him. Yeah. We can massage and garnish the history of this country, but it will remain the same. That Osagyefo founded this country and the first president of the land. How do you miss your dad?
Tremendously. But on the other hand, I feel his presence wherever I go.
How?
Yeah. Well, the spirit is there, number one. And when people prophesy over me or recognize him in me, people from the First Republic, when we come across each other, I will not mention names, but there is a wife of one of the ministers of the First Republic. Every time she would meet me or shake hands with me, she would collapse and faint. And then I stopped, obviously, shaking hands with her. Her husband told me, my wife is still in love with your dad. That's why anytime she comes across with anything connected with him. So the presence is always there. So some people feel it if they're tuned to it. And some people, obviously, they're indifferent because they're not aware. So, but I'm aware, yeah.
You miss him?
Yes, of course. And I miss the fact that if he was here, Africa would look very different, and people will try to shape up in a very different way. But hopefully there's enough of him in terms of culture, heritage, legacy, and few of us who follow him faithfully to still carry his vision and conclude what he wanted to achieve in his life, and he was not allowed to achieve. So until that, the spirit will not rest and will always be hovering around, and will always, people like me will always feel his presence, but admittedly not everybody.
Not everybody. I do too. I mean, and I believe that Nkrumah is not dead.
Yeah.
Is still around, waiting to see the right thing before he will finally go to rest. We all have fathers, you know.
Yeah, of course.
And we all believe in our fathers. You were fortunate your father was once a president of this country. You are here today. What kind of a father did you find in Osagyefo?
The greatest thing about him, that he was the most selfless person I can think of. Perhaps after Christ. I mean, as a human being, I don't know anyone who is more selfless than him. And he wouldn't have issues like, for example, when people say he's not the only founder or whatever, he wouldn't have bothered with all that, you know, nonsense. To him, it's just petty stuff. So I usually try to rise above this. But whenever I'm asked, is he the only founder? To me, he is, because Ghana, in its shape, in its geography, in its history, the way it is. I've written once an article along those lines, and I think my views are well known. The others had different vision of gradual, progressive, some form of autonomy, which wasn't full independence, number one. And number two, it was not immediate. They had a long-term view that they can work with a colonial system for a while, be it 50 years or something like Hong Kong. I don't know what years they were negotiating. Hong Kong was 99 years before it went back. But anyhow, I'm glad that the Nkrumah campaign for independence now never won the day, won the argument, and the others have lost it. But now they all want to be considered as fellow founders. Fine. It doesn't really change the history. You cannot rewrite history. History is history. Facts are facts. So you cannot take that away. I mean, some people obviously, for their own reasons, will want to dilute his role or make him into just another leader. Well, fine.
So how old were you when he died?
I was 15 exactly, or just a little over 15.
A little over 15. So you saw him in press saying, you remember some of the very fond memories of him, maybe taking you to school, taking you to the club, taking you to somewhere to play, or if you came in contact with your dad, something that both of you did together?
No, okay, you know that he never had
the time for the family.
For the family, and he was always devoted, and that's what I'm saying. He's completely selfless, and he lived like a soldier, really, to the end. And he sacrificed all for Ghana and for Africa. And I think Ghana is in his debt, and Africa owes him a great debt forever and ever. But hopefully we can live up to 10% or even 1% of his selflessness and his greatness and his sacrifice, and achieve some of, if not all of his objectives. Hopefully we can achieve most of them before we are gone. That's my prayer.
As a teenager then, was there any other particular thing you loved that you wish that your father could have done for you, but because of devotion to this country and uniting Africa, he was not able to do that for you?
Not because that will make me selfish. My views are selfless like his. My views, I would like to see Ghana at her best and Africa united. My prayer, almost not every day, but very regular prayer, that, Lord, I would like to see Africa united before I'm gone. Even for one day, I would like to see and enjoy a united Africa.
Okay.
And then if we do achieve that before I'm gone, I would leave in my will that we shall have a great party and a great celebration. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So where are your other siblings, your brothers and your sisters? Where are they?
Professor Francis is retired, doctor. I think all Ghanaians know him.
Is Professor here in this country? Or he's out?
Well, he's retired now. He's emeritus professor at Noguchi, but he doesn't practice. He's in his 70s, and I think he's done his days as a pediatrician and public health doctor, and he taught in Zimbabwe for 7 years or so. So he's done a lot, but he's retired at the moment. Yeah.
Okay. And Sekou, is he here?
Sekou's the youngest.
Okay.
The children of Madame Fatia are 3. Gamal in Egypt, he just retired as a journalist, or as an associate editor of Al Ahram. And then Samia, second, Sekou's the last. Okay.
So do you guys meet sometimes? Talk about yourself, talk about your father, achievement and everything? Do you do that?
We're not really close. I mean, with Francis, we meet only in official events, really. But Gamal, whenever I'm in Egypt, I like to meet him, have a meal and stuff. He's very jolly and social guy. But Samia and Sekou, I'm not that close to them. Yeah.
Any reason, it's just because of time's sake?
Well, I'm sure there's some reasons, but it's not really important to...
Would you like to get closer to them? You being the eldest, I mean.
Yeah, I love them. I mean, I'm older than these two, older than three, and I love them all. But it's in their own time, they hopefully will realize...
Is it true that children of Osagyefo, you guys are divided on certain lines? Either political, social, economic, ideology, or whatsoever? You guys are divided on certain fields or lines?
First, the mothers are different. So there are three different mothers, obviously. That's number one difference. Two, well, ideological divide. Gamal is a Pan-Africanist par excellence. But when I tried to quiz him if he can be a CPP or what, can he come back to Ghana and let's work together to rebuild? He said, oh, at that time, Samia just came from Italy. He said, oh, work with Samia, because I think I am, you know, getting old to
start. Has he been here before? Come out?
Yeah. Gamal comes, you know, but not often. Not often at all, yeah. But when something official, like funerals or whatever, he would come. And then Sekou, I don't know his political agenda, really. I asked him once, why does he hop in different camps? And he said he's a political activist. So that's his description of a political activist. He can hop from this one to that one.
Okay, now let's talk about the CPP.
Yeah.
Yes, just 2-3 questions about the CPP, and then we'll go into the principles and the person, Osagyefo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the founder and the first president of this country.
Yes.
CPP, what's happening to you?
Oh, CPP is still in a mess. The mess is because the other two parties, they find it necessary for their reasons, best known to themselves, but I think most Ghanaians know they always have their people inside of CPP. So there's always proxy wars in fighting within CPP. My desire is to be part of cleaning CPP. If I fail, then I will declare it that I failed.
When you fail, you will declare that you failed?
I will come in the public domain to say I've tried and I failed. But until then, there's still hope. My return to the, the political scene here, to the Ghanaian scene, gives hope to a lot of people to revive CPP, that I am not giving up and I refuse to give up until I've exhausted every energy possible.
Are you aware anytime the CPP is formidable, the two leading political parties tremble on their feet?
Yeah.
Are you aware of that?
I'm painfully aware of that.
Okay, so if you're painfully aware of that, how gamefully are you going to organize the CPP?
To the best of my ability, but I'm also aware that they invest money, they invest logistics, they send people, and they also sponsor others. If they don't send them, they sponsor them. If they are willing to be sponsored or they're keen to be sponsored.
You mean the other parties sponsor
the other
people?
Two, inside of CPP.
Okay.
So we have a microcosm of a micro ecosystem of the country inside of CPP. So
how is that possible?
Yeah, so you can have a fight in parliament between the, let's say, two parties, and you can have that in a smaller way within
the CPP.
CPP. And it's amazing, really. I mean, might be an interesting topic to write about one day if I get time for my private life again. It's so amusing, but in a painful way. It's tragic, really, but that's what it is. But nobody would admit to it, obviously. Nobody would say, yes, I'm for MPP or I'm for... But you know they're a sponsor, and you know they're accepting money.
You know some of them being sponsored by the two leading parties?
Yes, we know. And they, some evidence show up sometime.
Would you be comfortable talking about them in person, names and all that?
Because they are still part of CPP, or they want to remain as if to appear as part. Let us not blow the...
So how would you be able to clean up this mess, knowing very well MPP, a very strong political party.
Yeah.
The NDC is a very strong political party.
Yeah.
You have the young members being sponsored to hold very, maybe, I don't know, very
Sometimes.
sensitive positions.
Sometimes leading.
How would you be able to do that?
It's not very easy, as you can imagine. Especially, I feel sidelined by, obviously, the different camps. Nobody, because they know I'm for the real thing. I'm for the rightful thing to be done. And I am for, my loyalty is strictly Osagyefo's and the Nkrumah legacy. So if you are sponsored by one side or the other, you're not going to come close to me, you know, and open up. So it's not easy. And that's why I'm saying it's a possibility of cleaning or not cleaning, and maybe 50-50 chance. But it's worth doing, because I may not forgive myself. I mean, I meet Ghanaians in America, in UK, in mainland Europe, and they always urge me, can't you go and fix your father's party? Can't you instead of some years, some election, you get the party, you know, being sponsored by MPP or NDC or whatever, and they sell out. So please go, because people will trust you that you are not going to be bribed or bought by anybody, which is true. Nobody can afford to buy me because I'm not for sale. And that would be very expensive. So, and I couldn't do it anyway. I always say I'm on my dead body. I mean, nobody can even try. Or they can try, but they would not get anywhere. So it's not an easy task.
Okay.
But so I'm admitting in public domain, I don't know if I will succeed to. But if I cannot succeed, then a remnant or a rump of the true Nkrumahs should declare themselves as the new true CPP.
Do you see the current executives of your father's party really willing and working, one, to the interest of your dad, not him as a person, but based on his principles and his ideology and understanding of building a better Ghana? Do you see them again as people who are willing to outgrow this small, petty things and build the CPP? Or you see otherwise of the current executives of the CPP?
Okay, as I said, CPP represents the mess in Ghana. So the mess in Ghana is represented...
CPP represents the mess in Ghana.
Yeah, so we have a smaller mess in CPP that is representative of the bigger mess in Ghana. I mean, we're laughing, but it's tragic, really. But anyhow, it calls for a laugh. All these entities are present. We have those who are true, loyal, you know, die-hard Nkrumahs. We have those. We have, obviously, hypocrites who belong to different, but they will never admit because they gain from their hypocrisy. So they wouldn't tell you, I'm a hypocrite and I'm paid to be a hypocrite. Nobody would admit to that. But they are there. So how can I be more, you know, explicit or implicit? I mean, you just take it like it is. I mean, we have all these shades are present. And there are also others also who are new or who are unaware, and quickly they discover, you know, that this is a group like that. This faction is for this. So that is how it is.
As the first vice chair of the party, do you go to party meetings?
Yeah, of course. I mean, but we have had serious handicap because one of the contestants, she refuses to admit that she lost to be the chairperson. That is Frimpoma, Nana Frimpoma. She still claims that she's the chairperson, and she works by herself. And the other
But was she sworn into office?
Sorry?
Was she sworn?
By mistake, and the EC admitted it was erroneously done. And I said to the EC, please fix it. They said, you have to take us to court. And I don't know why we have to take the EC to court.
Are you on talking terms with her?
I used to be close to her. I used to believe that she was genuine initially, but when I discovered, I mean, that's one of the people sponsored by other parties, you know. So, yeah, so obviously quickly I tried to
So
talk.
you think she was sponsored? By who, NDC or MPP?
By MPP. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know.
Do you have any evidence to that?
Yeah, two of the leadership were aware, but they all kept it away from me. And then they came in public when she decided to keep the money and the cars and whatever.
Which money, which cars?
Well, you know, it's not necessary to take your time on air.
No, you tell me. I just want to know. I'm interested. She took some cars?
She took cars, monies, and motorbikes. And
from who?
From MPP. And I didn't know. I was sidelined for a long time. But when I discovered it, I had serious argument with her, and I tried to reason with her. And she said, no, it was given to her in her personal capacity. These were not given to her.
So she confirmed that to you?
Yeah, that she received those for herself.
How many cars, if she told you?
I'm aware of 3, but she owned up to 2. With a lot of pressure, she gave 2.
Which type of cars were you told?
The one she's keeping is a V8, but the 2 she gave to the party are pickups.
Okay.
And then the 20 motorbikes she's still holding to herself or her business, and the money she's still holding to herself.
How much money?
I heard there were several payments, but one of the confirmed payments was 2.7 million.
Million what? Ghana cedis?
Ghana cedi, yeah, not dollars.
And that came from the NPP?
Yeah, I mean, some of those monies were collected in bags, you know, physical cash, and 2 of the leadership members assisted in the first, you know, delivery of those. But apparently her son subsequently received further payments. But
her son?
Yeah, her son. She appointed him as something to do in the party. But I don't even know what's his latest position, according to her.
You go to the party office?
I do, but I'm supposed to use the chairperson. There are 2 rooms for the chair, but she's refusing to relinquish. I took her to court, and the matter is still not completely resolved. The judge ruled that we should use party internal mechanism, so we're still not concluded, really. So it's an unfortunate situation. That's why I'm saying until we get a substantive chairperson, officially, according to the Central Committee of the party, I'm the acting chairman. Okay. But according to her, she's still the chairman. Yeah.
So now, this about your chairman.
Yeah.
You've just confirmed to us that she's somebody being sponsored by the New Patriotic Party.
Yeah.
What about your general secretary?
Well, there are rumors, but, you know, but I have no evidence. Everybody says, why do you attack from Poma and you don't attack the GS? And I said, well, attack her for what? They say, she's also sponsored. I said, I don't know. I don't know.
Your general secretary was also sponsored?
There is a rumor.
By who? According to the rumor?
According to the rumor, she is sponsored by NDC, but I asked her and she denied it, and no evidence, so I say no more. So, but then it's a rumor, yeah. But if anybody has evidence, please come out.
So with all this background information, a few investigations you've done, conducted, people giving you snipers of information left and right,
yeah,
and you having this zeal of rebuilding the CPP, are you sure you can get through the wool and the woods of this toxic environment and be able to build the CPP?
Well, it's not a question of being sure, because how can you be sure? But I know it is the rightful thing, if at all possible. So, you know, when there's a war to be fought, you don't say as a soldier, what if I die? Well, if you die for a good cause. Okay. So for this, I just know it's a good cause. Whether I fail or succeed, I will give it my best shot. If I fail, then people know at least I've tried, and my father wouldn't surely know I've tried, you know. So that is my duty to him.
Let me see if this can be my final question, because we are meeting again tomorrow for Osagyefo's birthday here, Media General. There are lots of African leaders who claim... No, let me ask you this before this. This will be my final question.
No problem.
You hear about the story, the history of the attainment of independence of this country being twisted and turned every day, every year. You hear a lot of stories, a lot of history. We are trying to every year rewrite the independence history of this country.
Yes.
People believe that your father is the founder of this country and the first president. Others say that, well, we didn't join before and after the struggle for independence. Your father was not the only person, so we need to honor all the heroes and all. When you hear these kind of, I don't want to use the word distorted, but I'm tempted to use that, distorted history about the pressing of your father, the struggle for independence and all. How do you, as an individual, feel?
I feel very sad, but it's worth noting that the one that actually called my father founder was not even Ghana. It was the AU when he was 100. That's 13 years ago. The AU declared his birthday as a day to be celebrated by every African state. You know, all 54 states declared it as Founders Day. 21st of September. And then the late
president... And it was an apostrophe before the S.
Yes, apostrophe, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And he was referred...
So singular.
Yes. I mean, and he's the only one that was accepted to be a statue outside of AU, by the way. The other leaders and the other initial... I mean, you can argue, obviously, that AU was not only founded by him, but even the other people with him were not given the same acknowledgement as he was. Anyway, so the late President Mills thought, well, you know, we're not doing ourselves a favor here as Ghanaians. We have a great icon, a Ghanaian hero, and we wait to hear instruction from Addis Ababa that we should be one of the many countries to honor him as the founders for the Organization of African Unity. We should honor him as also our own founder, because he's the founder of this country. So the next year, thereafter, it became Founders Day for Ghana.
Okay.
But the genesis actually started that he was founder for the African Unity, and then it was adopted by President Mills to be founders of Ghana. And then obviously we had other people thinking otherwise, and changing with that and adding other founders and so forth.
You think as a country you've not treated your father well?
Yes, I think it's very unfortunate, but I think he's so much greater than that pettiness, so it doesn't affect his stature really. Whatever they want to call him, it wouldn't affect his greatness. So. My
final question, if it could be anyway. Your father had this penchant for building a stronger Africa to rub shoulders with the Europeans and that of the Americas.
Yeah.
And people think that he aligned with Russia at then times, also China, and tried to develop Ghana. We had almost 442 industries, companies, and a lot of them here.
Yeah.
After his demise, we had something we call the Divestiture Implementation Committee that sold virtually everything.
Or gave them away.
Giving them away. Now, if you listen to all the African leaders, at least those that came from 2000 up until today, they all tell you, oh, we read about Nkrumah, we want to be like Nkrumah, we're trying to do this, we're trying to do that. But Africa still remains the same.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's still the same, if indeed they are reading and taking in the things your father wrote or following the things your dad did?
Well, lack of commitment, lack of sincerity, lack of understanding. For the lack of knowledge, my people perish. Even God said that. So if the Almighty can say that, so I mean, Nkrumah can even say it much more. For the lack of knowledge, they don't really know what they're toying with. They don't know the ultimate prize if they really hold on to it. Okay. How much it would be greater for all of us. I can talk on that and I can write books on that, so I will spare you. But when you have more time, I will tell you more, I'm sure.
Thank you so much, Dr. Onzi Kwame Nkrumah, the second son of the first president of Ghana.
Thank you.
We are meeting tomorrow, so I'm reserving some of the questions so we can have a healthy discussion again
With
tomorrow.
pleasure.
Thanks so much for
Thank you so much.
Okay, so